Hey, welcome to SI Now. I'm Amy Campbell, Robin Lundberg, and I was so excited waking up this morning. It's my favorite day of the year.
Because Infinity War comes out?
Oh my gosh, you would. No, it is the NFL Draft, the best day of the year. Who will go number one? We've been talking about it for months. Where will Saquon Barkley end up? How will the quarterback dominoes fall? We don't have to wait that much longer. I'm so
and we've
excited.
got the most in-depth analysis possible, courtesy of the guys from Pro Football Focus. Mike Renner and Steve Palazzolo are with us. We'll get to the quarterbacks in a second. Everybody's talking about the quarterbacks. But your highest-rated non-QB is Maurice Hurst in interior defense, Michigan. Why do you have him where he is, considering I haven't seen him on other people's boards that high?
I think the biggest thing with him and what really shines through in our system is just how well he's graded. He has graded extremely well every single year of his career. The production versus the run versus the pass as a pass rusher has been there. There's really no question marks about his on-field play. The only question marks about his body. Is he that athletic enough for it to translate to the next level? Is he big enough for him to hold up against the run at the next level? And when those are your only question marks, when you can't question anything he's actually doing on the field, we're gonna be high on a guy like that.
Yeah, and at 290 pounds, he gets this undersized label, but the best two defensive tackles in the NFL, Geno Atkins, Aaron Darnold, both in that range. You have guys like Mike Daniels, Drill Casey. Drill Casey, Grady Jarrett. I'm sorry. There's a whole bunch of 290 to 300 pounders that are great. Hurst had the highest grade we've ever given an interior defensive lineman in 2017, and we have 3 years of data that shows guys transitioning from college to the NFL, and our defensive line grades have been fantastic at projecting guys at the next level. So it's one of those where you have to trust the grade, and then you go watch the tape, and it all backs it up, too, because he's got those traits that you want as well for a disruptive interior lineman.
That's one of the great things about what you guys do is it's that data that actually makes those projections. I want to talk about rounding out that top five because you've got those quarterbacks 1 and 2, Mayfield and Darnold. You mentioned Hurst is number 3. We've got Quentin Nelson at number 4 and Derwin James at 5. What is it about Nelson that puts him all the way up there?
What is your guy?
You're a guy. I know you love him.
What isn't it about Nelson? If you try to ask any draft analyst, find a weakness for Quentin Nelson, find something he can't do on a football field as an offensive lineman, you're going to hear crickets. There's not much he can't do as an offensive lineman coming out of college to the NFL. I've called him a future Hall of Famer. I stand by that. I have never put that label on an offensive lineman before. He's just that good in terms of athleticism, production in college. He really ticks all the boxes.
Yeah, look, he's been awesome at everything. I think everybody's been fighting to say who loved Nelson first. It was you in 2015?
Sophomore year.
His dad actually tweeted at me and said I loved him first because I presented that question on Twitter. So 2015, 16, and 17 continued to get better. Unbelievable production, great in the run game, and he's just continued to improve in pass protection to the point where, Mike, you even said you'd maybe try him at tackle just because he has that level of skill.
Only reason he ended up at guard is because they had a first-rounder in Ronnie Stanley at left tackle, first-rounder in Mike McGlinchey at right tackle. As a rare combination for a guy to end up guard. He would have been a tackle pretty much any other school in the nation.
Look at this excitement over offensive line play. You've got to love it. All right, we aren't even talking about quarterbacks yet, and we're also not talking about the most talked about non-quarterbacks, Saquon Barkley and Bradley Chubb. Where do you have those guys?
We were lower on both Barkley and Chubb. They're kind of rounding out our top 10. Look, I've moved Barkley to 10 in my mock draft, which was a what would I do mock draft, because it's all about positional value with running back. And even the best running backs are just not all that valuable. And then when you look at a guy like Chubb, our concern when you compare him to other top 10 picks in recent years, he just did not have the on-field production that a Myles Garrett or a Joey Bosa did. Those guys were elite pass rushers in college, and they're the only 2 top 10 picks in the last 3 years who have translated to the NFL with elite pass rush ability. So Chubb's been this mid-80 PFF grade. Other guys with similar grades have been just average pass rushers at the next level.
Yeah, the big thing with Chubb is he's this freak athlete. He's this monster of a defensive end, yet at no point in his college career was he ever truly dominant. At no season was he really just killing offensive tackles play in, play out. His highest graded game came this last year against Boston College. Myles Garrett had 7 games graded higher than Bradley Chubb's 1 highest graded game. His high end wasn't very elite, and at that point, we're still high on him. We still have a first-round grade on him.
He's a good all-around player.
But
you like Harold Landry more than you like Bradley Chubb. Tell me why, because I don't know if I see it.
It goes back to what I just said about the high-end play. We saw it from Harold Landry back in 2016. He had games where he was unblockable. He had games where they had to double team him every time if they even hoped to block him and stop him from getting to the quarterback. I mean, he had more sacks than Myles Garrett, had a higher pass rushing grade than Myles Garrett that season. Now, 2017, not nearly as good, but you go back to the Week 1 tape when he was fully healthy against Northern Illinois. same thing. He dominated. He couldn't be blocked in that game, one of the highest graded games we saw all season. So it was still there. I just think the injury really limited him, and it was his ankle injury. He relies on that flexion, so I'll give him a little pass for that.
So you're giving him a pass for the injury. You think that's fair, even though we don't usually do that for guys?
Yeah, it
depends on the
case
context?
by case. It's
Okay.
a case by case.
All right, so in this case, you're saying that's fine.
It's fine.
You're just picking your spot. Look, his high-end pass rush grade was 89, which is right on the cusp of that Joey Bosa, Myles Garrett. Chubb's at, again, the mid-80s, so that's where you kind of separate the two. The high-end Harold Landry pass rushing ability, which is all that matters in the NFL. That's what we're banking on.
Higher ceiling.
All right, let's get to the quarterbacks. There's been some speculation Mayfield actually could go number 1 to the Browns, but that hadn't been talked about for a while. You guys have loved Baker Mayfield from the start. Why do you think his skills are most translatable to the NFL over all the other quarterbacks?
It's just the data we have. We did more data collection this year on quarterbacks than we've ever done at any point. I don't think it's ever been done at any point in the draft history. We tracked ball placement on every single throw, and basically any way you want to slice it, he was the most accurate. He was the most productive quarterback last year in college football. He has the arm strength. He has the escapability to make plays outside the pocket. At that point, it's like, what are you almost overthinking it to go anywhere else?
I've looked for excuses to not like Baker because of the height thing. I mean, that's really the only thing you can use against him. But you can see our little spider chart here. I mean, the bigger the better, and he is just at the top end of everything when compared to the rest of the draft class. We even said, look, the narrative about him throwing easy passes at Oklahoma is true. He did have 20% of his passes were screens, and he had a lot of open throws. But if you just pare it down to what we've called NFL throws, because we have data on every NFL throw, every college throw, we said which throws do NFL QBs need to make to have success, and then we said, okay, which college quarterbacks are best at those? Baker Mayfield comes out on top there, too. Just the handful of NFL-type throws that he made, he was the best compared to everyone else in the class.
Well, he really may go number 1. Today's going to be absolutely bananas. I want to ask you about Sam Darnold, arguably the quote-unquote safest pick we've heard of all of these quarterbacks. And if the Browns do take him, how do you see his skill set translating there in Cleveland?
I'm a big Darnold fan, so he's our number 2. I mean, he's right behind Baker, and I think when you look at his production for 2 years, he was a redshirt freshman, redshirt sophomore, only 2 years on the field, both solid grades, both of those years, and he just makes special NFL throws. I mean, his high-end throws, everybody talks about Josh Allen and the arm and everything. I think Darnold's high-end throws are as good as anybody in this class. We're talking dropping them in there in between 3 defenders with pinpoint accuracy, anticipation. So he has all the translatable NFL skills. He just had too many turnovers last year, but those all came in this 4-game clump, which looked more like a slump than really a part of his DNA. So I think he has everything you need to succeed at the NFL level. He's still young as a quarterback. Short area accuracy is outstanding. Just has to cut back on some of those poor plays.
Now, you guys are not very high on Josh Allen, last amongst the top quarterbacks in your rankings. Is there a natural fit for him?
I think any sort of downfield passing offense.
Well, Bruce Arians just retired, which is unfortunate.
I was going to say, it's not even just a natural fit. It's almost like he has to go to a downfield passing offense to take advantage of that arm. Something like a system where Cam Newton plays in. Mentioned Bruce Arians, Arizona, what they've ran over the years. Because that's basically the only place he does excel is these special throws down the field. We saw that back in 2016. He was one of the highest rates of big-time throws in all of college football. That's what he can do. That's why people fall in love with him. But the NFL is not trending that way. The NFL is trending towards shorter, quicker passing offenses that take timing, that take accuracy, that take ball placement on those underneath throws to get yards after the catch. That's just not who Allen is. So he basically has to go to someone that's going to change, go against the grain of where the NFL is going.
Yeah, I don't know if I was so surprised to see him on the bottom of your quarterback rankings, but I was surprised to not see him in the top 25 overall for you guys. All right, so draft rumors swirling, of course. Josh Rosen, a guy who's been talked about as possibly falling down the draft boards. Alomar Jackson, possibly going up the draft boards. Where do you have those guys?
So we have Rosen as our number 3 quarterback, probably in that top tier with Mayfield, Darnold, and Rosen. I mean, we've compared Rosen to guys like Eli Manning, maybe Jameis Winston, where they're just high volatile passers. I mean, if you want to pull out NFL throws, they're all on tape. If you want to pull out boneheaded decisions, they're all on tape as well. So just like Winston and Eli, they've got this little roller coaster to them. I think that's who Rosen is. But the high-end play, just like Eli has these couple runs in his career, and I think Jameis has those in him, I think there's this high-end play for Rosen where he looks like a great quarterback, if all things around him are looking good. So that's a guy that you can win with. There's just some volatility to his game.
Lamar Jackson, I'm a big fan of his game. I struggle, though, to rank him alongside these other quarterbacks because he's almost playing a different position entirely. You have to change your offense to fit him, not the other way around. You can't just plug him into a pro style. You can't just plug him into a West Coast offense and expect him to have the results that a Sam Darnold will, that a Josh Rosen will. You have to use his legs. You have to give him this offense that's going to take full advantage of him being a running threat. At that point, you can run a successful offense with that. That goes against a lot of where the NFL is, but an option-heavy attack, we've seen it be successful, whether it be the 49ers a few years back, whether it be the Panthers. That works in the NFL if you have a weapon like Lamar, who's rare as a runner, but so few teams are willing to do that. So I can see him moving up boards if someone falls in love with that sort of offense, is willing to change, but it only takes one, but I just don't see a lot of teams being.
That's why people go to you guys. Pro Football Focus, the best analysis around. Saquon Barkley is sure to get paid at the NFL level, but take a look at how he got paid before that without violating any rules in our latest Sports Animated.
Remember the one game where we had a bet? I tell people the story. We had a bet. If I scored a certain amount of touchdowns,
you'll get $100.
give me $100. And it was like on the
Did you
night.
guys get your money?
I spent it on like food, which it was like literally on the 1 yard line. I forgot what the play was, but boom, I break it, and literally, it sounded like a movie, but I swear to God, this is a real story. As I'm running on the sideline, I look at my dad, and I'm literally smiling at my dad, like in my head, like cha-ching, like give me my money. And I stop and I look at him, he's laughing, he's waving off, laughing at me. I look back, as a flag comes back, 2 or 3 plays later, I break like a 7-yard touchdown.
Next play.
Next play, give me my money.
I tried to shoot a layup, it hit the backboard, then he blocked it. There's replays I guess you guys can see. I guess it's a tough play at the time for him, but it was a goaltend. We fought our way back. We tied the game up. That layup is huge. Give him credit where credit is due. The 3 was big time, definitely huge. But who's to say they even run that play? You don't know what happens.
And I'm here with our NBA analyst, John Starks. Now, you heard Victor Oladipo. Do the Pacers have a beef with the way that game turned out last night?
Of course. You know, that was a big play. And LeBron obviously made a great play. It was close plays. It could went either way. Obviously, that's not a play that you can review. And he hit the game-winning shot, a big 3.
Well, even if it counted, if he had still hit the 3, they would have won the game. He had the game-saving block, the game-winning 3. He now has 6 go-ahead shots in the final 5 seconds of regulation or overtime in the playoffs, passing Michael Jordan in that category. Obviously, you had your battles with Michael Jordan. What does it say to you to see LeBron pass him in that specific category?
Well, it just says that he's been doing some great things over the course of his career. That's about it. I think, you know, you need your stars to step up and play big, and he stepped up and played big in those last 2 plays with the block, which obviously was a goaltend, but nevertheless, he hit the big 3 when he needed to hit that 3.
Do we take him for granted a little bit in the sense? I guess we don't because we're constantly talking about him, but he's doing everything for that team. He has the defensive play. He has the offensive play. He's commanding the bulk of the offense, leading them in points, rebounds, assists, blocks. Are we a little too just like kind of ho-hum about it?
That's what great players are supposed to do, especially when you know that you down a man, so to speak. And he knows that he has a young playoff experienced team for us with the new guys that was brought in. So he knows that he have to do a little bit more and to get these guys up to par. As you can see with the way that he's trying to build that team tightness for as everybody wearing the same suits, and he just really trying to get everybody on the same page. So he knows that he have to play a little bit better than what he has been over the course of his last few playoff years.
Now, switching to the West, the Thunder stay alive in that series, coming all the way back. Who do you think winds up winning it? Is it Utah, who seem to have control, or is it the Thunder between George and Westbrook coming back?
Well, you have to look at it can they put this game out their mind? That was a tough loss, knowing that you had this team on the ropes, knowing that you could have closed the series out, and to be up 25 with 8 minutes and 34 seconds left on the clock, and to lose the game, that can play with your psychic. But as they say, Mitchell was walking off the court waving to the fans, goodbye, goodbye, like he's not going to see that. If I'm Billy Donovan, I'm putting that up on the board and say, just what you this what this young player say that he's not coming back to Oklahoma City. And so that's all guys like Paul George, Melo, and Westbrook need is a little added motivation.
You know, we saw a great performance from Westbrook. Obviously, LeBron sort of held to a different standard than everybody else. But aside from him, I wonder, do you think Russell Westbrook is the most unfairly scrutinized player in the league? Because people are constantly nitpicking maybe late game decisions or does he not pass the ball enough? Most times he's the best player on the court.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. They take for granted what he brings to the table. To average a back-to-back triple-double, that is like mind-blowing. I can imagine doing that. And they do take him for granted, you know, because he go out and lay his heart out there on the line every single night, and he plays to win. And bringing in two new players such as Paul George and Melo, and knowing those guys like to have the ball in their hands, scores, and to be able to try to make that work. You know, he had his struggles. As a team, they had their struggles, but he had his struggles in trying to make everybody happy. And so he's just playing right now. That was the old Westbrook. Just come take charge and everybody just get on my back.
Finally, we've seen the two favorites move on out west. Who are you picking after round one? Houston, Golden State, or neither?
We'll know. This is going to be interesting because I think if Oklahoma City get past Utah, which I know Houston don't want to see Oklahoma City, then I like Oklahoma City. But if they don't get past Utah, I still think that Golden State's still the favorite. Until you knock them off, they still the favorite, even though Houston obviously had the best season this year.
Yeah, you know, you got to see Golden State beaten before you can actually pick against them. It already has to happen before you can pick it. John Starks, our NBA analyst.
I'm joined now by one of the best DB prospects in the nation, soon to be NFL safety out of Florida State. Derwin James joins us courtesy of Old Spice. So Derwin, this is a very exciting time for you. You're a small town kid and now you're just hours away from being a top pick in the NFL draft. So after all that you've been through to get to this point, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling excited. Like you said, I've been working hard. Small town, main city, Florida, been working hard, and never gave up on my dream, and now it's here. And, like you say, hours away. We'll see what I know where I'll be.
So you're a very versatile defender. I always hear questions about where teams want to put you because you do so many things well. How do you think teams can best use you at the next level?
I just say, it depends on what the other team is trying to do. I feel like if we're playing against a Gronkowski type tight end, I'll be covering him. If we're playing against a great receiver, I'll be covering him. And if they got a great quarterback, I'll be playing deep in the middle of the field or half field. So it just depends on the team that I say. Like you said, I feel like I do all those things well, and I'm comfortable doing all those things. Yeah, anything I can take away whatever a team likes to do.
Is there an NFL safety that you model your game after, or who you think matches your game the best?
I feel like it's not just one safety that can compare. I feel like it's just many safeties that, we all do the same thing, have the similar traits. I watch a lot on Sean Taylor. I get that comparison a lot. Eric Berry, I get that comparison a lot. Also feel like I play a little bit like Troy Polamalu too, just being able to rush the quarterback and being able to get in the box. So I feel like just being able to take something from all those guys' game, and I feel like install it in my game will make me a better player.
I want to ask you about the new NFL targeting rule. So you can't lower your head to initiate contact, obviously something you already have in college, but you're a guy who's very physical, you like to play fast. Do you see yourself having to make any adjustments at the next level?
Yeah. A lot of people ask me about it. I thought I got away with it when I left college. I thought I wouldn't have to deal with targeting anymore. But, it's just part of the game. They trying to make it safer, but it's still ways, to deliver violent hits without, hand contact. I'm not trying to think about it too much because at the end of the day, it's football. I'm gonna play football. I know one way to play the game, and that's fast and violent. So, I'm gonna play the game to the best of my ability.
Calvin Ridley is one of the top receiver prospects in this draft, and he's a guy you know pretty well. You've matched up against him in college. You played against him in high school. Put on your scout hat now. I want to know, what is it like to match up against him?
Man, Ridley's one of the best receivers I've seen. He does it all, man. You name me. He's fast. He runs amazing routes. Every route he runs, it looks the same. You can't tell. He don't give away many route tendencies. And he has that dog mentality, that competitive edge that most guys don't have. And I feel like I've been knowing him a long time, and we both have been going through the same process a long time. And like I said, a great player. Should be taken in the first round, no doubt.
Okay, so I know your nickname is Pooh Bear, which is pretty funny for a guy like you who's such an intimidating defender. Where did that name come from, and are you going to keep that going at the next level?
Nah, most people call me DJ now. In college, they call me DJ. But I got that name as a kid when I was very young. I was kind of big as a child. I was kind of fat. I used to have hair on my back, like a lot of hair on my back and on my neck, and that was like kind of weird. So my mom was like, "You remind me of a bear." And then so she was like, her favorite show was Winnie the Pooh. So she was like, "I'm just gonna call you Pooh Bear." So then that's how I got that name.
You're joining us for Old Spice, so I know you like to look clean, you like to smell fresh, so tell me how Old Spice helps you get that done.
I feel like Old Spice offers a lot when it comes to that, especially with a new shampoo that they just released, the Flake Defense. It helps cure the hair danger, and it has the shampoo and the conditioner, so it works well. I've been a fan of Old Spice a long time. Anyway, that's the brand I use. So, I'm pretty comfortable with them, and like I said, it's great.
Derwin, best of luck in your future NFL career. We are very excited for you. Thank you so much for taking some time for us.
All right, thank you so much.
Baker Mayfield could be the #1 pick in this year's draft, and he's already channeling one of the greats. This is great. Check out this picture of Mayfield recreating Brett Favre's iconic draft day photo. Jorts and all. Robin, this is awesome.
I forgot that jorts were a thing, but I guess back in Brett Favre's day, they were, as was that kind of telephone. We'll be back tomorrow with some more modern phones. You can watch us probably on your phone. Same time and the same place. In the meantime, check us out at SI Now Live on Twitter. Enjoy the NFL draft, everyone.
Ooh, I'll wear the jorts.